Welcome to the first plenary session of the Mining Goes Digital conference, where we will explore the opportunities and barriers of digitalization in the mining and geological industries in Kazakhstan. The government of Kazakhstan estimates that digital technologies could generate economic benefits in the region of $25 billion, with $9 billion in the mining sector alone. These figures clearly show that digitalization has turned from a buzzword into an important tool for improving the efficiency of the mining industry. However, the 2017 analysis of the digitalization level of Kazakhstan's mining enterprises revealed disappointing results. Many mining, processing, and metallurgical plants in the country date back to the Soviet era and lack modern equipment and communication networks. More than half of the mining enterprises were at the level of Industry 2.0 and had not yet reached full automation. Despite the challenges, the situation is gradually improving with the introduction of the Digital Kazakhstan State Program in 2017, which aims to incorporate elements of Industry 4.0 across all sectors of the economy. Major players in the mining industry in Kazakhstan have made progress towards digitalization, with equipment ranging from 20 to 25% to 77 to 80%, enabling optimization and automation of production processes. However, small and medium-sized businesses still have room for improvement. To learn more about the challenges and solutions for digitalizing production processes in the mining industry in Kazakhstan, join our panel of experts and industry leaders at this conference. Let us explore together how Kazakhstan can transform its mining into Industry 4.0.
Good morning, distinguished colleagues. We are starting the first session of the second day of MINEX conference, and we will discuss the topic of digitalization of geology and subsoil use. The topic is important and relevant for the sector for many years, but with every year it increases importance and never loses its topicality. It raised hot discussions yesterday at the sessions. Actually, we had much more participants yesterday, but today we have the most involved participants. Our work with our cooperation with global companies and powers in developing strategy of transition to digital technology proves that digital geological information is important both for state authorities to attract investments and to replenish our raw materials base, and it's also important for private businesses in mining and exploration companies. Why? So as to make good quality decisions based on good quality data and to improve the efficiency of exploration and the efficiency of production. As the government of Kazakhstan estimates, total economic effect of other digital technologies may reach about $25 billion. At the same time, up to $9 billion in the mining sector. In the sectors where we operate, these figures prove that digitalization from fancy term turned to important, even the most important tool to improve the efficiency of the companies. Yesterday in this room, we discussed a lot about the importance of availability of data, about modernization and digitalization, but how to make this data available to the final user. Today, we will discuss the technologies that allows us to realize the strategies. These are technologies and tools applied for acquisition, storage and processing of this data, and also for improving efficiency of manufacturing processes. Before we invite the first speaker to the podium, I would like to have a look at the outcomes of the survey organized by the team before the session started. If it's possible, please put it on the screen where your distinguished colleague participated. So the question was, what how much of your company's equipment, production and management processes digitalized or automatically controlled. And I see that the majority are at this level as 15%. It's interesting that we had only 4 options. More than 50% nobody provided vote. 15% is quite a conservative look, but I think it will make our session today more interesting. I wish everyone to have a productive day, and we will start with the first presentation with Yuria Savriga, Senior Engagement Manager Hedge, and he will talk about achievement of complete potential of mining sector thanks to diagnostics and methodology of transformation. Please, the floor is yours. Good morning to everyone. I would like to start with gratitude to organizers for invitation to participate, and I would also like to say that I'm very happy to come back to Kazakhstan again. I am Yuri. I work for Hajj company, and usually I stay in Canada, but I'm always happy to come here. The topic of today's discussion is transformation and transition to digital technologies, because it is also a transformation, and the ways to achieve it in the sphere of mining and processing sector. The presentation will be in English, but I have looked at the audience and I have seen that the majority of you are speaking Russian. That is why I decided to speak Russian, but for our English-speaking colleagues, if you have any questions or desire to discuss in English, I'll be happy to discuss it in English because it's almost my mother tongue. So the first important thing, and we also discussed it, what is a view of Kazakhstan in Western country? It is a miracle country with endless potential. And on the slide you see some information about different minerals available in Kazakhstan and their reserves. And we're discussing chromium, uranium, argentum, gold, and so on. And this is not a wonder that a lot of global powers, big companies, consortiums operate here in Kazakhstan. And I have experience, as well as my company, significant experience of working with big clients operating in Kazakhstan. As for transformation, what transformation is? It is a term which is widely used and a very fancy word. But I would like to give some explanations. Transformation may be done in several spheres. Transformation can be organizational to improve the efficiency of a company. It can be in feasibility study, in RAM, on how we use our assets. It can also be digitalization, it can be implementation of new technologies, and can be comprehensive solutions for improvement of operational efficiency. Or it can be a green transformation where we focus on our capacities to decrease the harm to environment using engineering solutions. So it can be also transformation for improvement of safety and decrease of disaster risks. We can understand the transformation as there is not a solution that you can take on the shelf and apply immediately. For every company, different solutions are required which are unique and appropriate for this enterprise. The methodology is general, but solution is very focused. It is focused for a particular company, but it is important to understand that in transformation lifestyles there are different approaches and different needs. There are transformation like turnaround. If we translate it from English, it will mean saving your business if business does not operate, and there is a need to revitalize your business immediately. This is one of type of transformation that can exist in any of these sectors. And here also there is some specific. When you have to save your business, it means that the competences of business is not very high. And maybe lack of desire to change because it is difficult to see how they can turn to the right lane. But demanding time is immediate because every day business loses money. Also, there are transformations that are focused on taking business and placing it in strategically more favorable positions. In these situations, the competences of business are usually higher and time for transformation is given, more time is given because the strategic process has a lot of desire. So it is important to find out the correct approach to the needs of the business and type of transformation we're trying to do. Some things that we can see from the experience of our work in Kazakhstan. They include also solutions. In safety, we see significant focus on catastrophic risks, on how we can overcome them. Partially, it goes through audits and technological solutions and engineering, solutions that improve safety at the level of design and engineering. We also see barriers and solutions for people, how we should find best labor that would wish to work for us, and how we can increase their competencies and upskill our staff. Here we are focusing on training and coaching, and yesterday there were some discussions about training, and also we have an opportunity for digitalization, and again we listen to a presentation on simulator that has been used, and again it is also a type of digitalization which allow us to improve the skills of our staff using digital technologies. And also we know that a lot of assets are aging nowadays, and if we're talking about digitalization, here we're talking about technologies that allow us to track and improve maintenance and servicing of outdated and obsolete resources and assets, the issues of supply chain and environment, and reduction of operational costs. All these things can be switched on through transformation, and now we see the decisions and solutions which are used by business nowadays. I would like to discuss the process in general. You see the bigger frameworks, how it looks like, and how the transformation is performed. Here I would like to give you an example on improvement of operational activities. It is important to pay attention. From my experience, I can tell you that usually it is a composition of digital technologies which allow us to create diagnostic, to diagnose bottlenecks and idle time, and including non-digital solutions like audits, like the work of engineers who may define the opportunities and the capacity for implementation of new technologies so as we could increase and improve operations. In general, we discuss the transformation process in three phases. The first one is diagnostics that identifies the bottlenecks in the areas where improvements can be achieved. Everybody are interested in low-hanging fruits. The second phase, and it is the most important phase, is plan of action, and we have to understand how we are going to implement the decisions so as to reach the objective of transformation. And the next one is execution. It is the longest process, and it is important to understand that McKinsey has done certain surveys why transformations are not resultful. And here I would agree with McKinsey and their conclusion is that transformation does not work if we do not fulfill the decision. To fulfill the decision on 70% is not enough. To get complete effective transformation, we need 95 to 100% of implementation of solution to get the lion's share of transformation and its benefits. If you look at this comprehensive transformation, usually they include implementation of engineering solutions. And again, as I have said in my previous slide, it is a three-phase approach. It is establishment of a baseline as a mark from which we are going to measure the improvement and identification of potential that can be achieved, and development of engineering solutions that would allow us to achieve this capacity.
Why we need transformations, or why we are in such situations when we need such transformations or engineering interventions? There could be different reasons, a lot of them. Sometimes it's wrong design, change of the strategic direction of the company. Sometimes it's the lack of the utilization of the systems to control the changes. Sometimes it's the bad choice of the equipment. Correspondingly, if it has happened already, the question is how we can make this transformation in order to achieve the full potential. Sorry. In our vision, transformation includes first the launch of the project, collection of the information, and here we are looking at collection information using digital means and audit information. We are diagnose bottlenecks and idle time, development of the roadmap, and in orange color here, this is the main part of the slide. What we need to do here, we need to establish the unified team. Sometimes it is done within the company. Sometimes the third-party involvement is needed to establish this team. In order for the transformation to succeed, it is very important that all the stakeholders establish this unified team with unified vision. If there is no such a vision, no such a team, it's very difficult to succeed in transformation. And then when the transformation is being implemented, then what is important is to develop technological solutions, implement technologies, including digitalization, but also what is important here is to work with people. This is my main message here. Engineering solutions do not work without people. That's the main message. Let me share our vision why we are successful in our work, in our transformations. First of all, we need to have the right team, one team. One team is comprised of the right people with right skills, working as one team with one goal, one interest. Proper planning, there should be one plan, including all the parts of transformation. And also, there should be enough capital for transformation. Sometimes people underestimate how much the transformation could cost. And the last part, so success factor of the transformation is you have to be flexible, because transformations are difficult to implement, because we are fundamentally changing of what we have been doing before, because we want to be better. So that's why we have to be ready for delays, for changing of the plans, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to start these difficult conversations, difficult discussions, because you need to find the adequate solution. If people are hiding something, if they are not open, completely open, then the transformation is difficult to achieve. I was shown that my time is almost over, but this is just a small piece of experience that I would like to share with you. This is the experience of transformation, and I would like to share it with you, but I hope that you will be working for improvements, and I wish success in your transformation of your business. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much, Yuri. I believe that we have time for one question. And as a moderator, let me ask this question. Tell me, please, the presentation was very interesting, but it would be helpful to have a very nice example where such an approach have been utilized already. Very good example. It's one of my projects in Kazakhstan. We were working on the enrichment plan that was designed based on the wrong baseline data. Can you imagine that if the baseline data are not correct, then the selection of the equipment is not correct, the construction is not correct, and the plant itself will not achieve the complete capacity, design capacity, and it means that it means a lot of losses. The losses were estimated $1 million a day, actually. We were working as one team. We redesigned and we implemented the solutions at the same time when the plant continued its operations. And it was even more difficult to continue operations when the transformation is ongoing. The transformation project is not over yet, but we can see already the improvement by 50% from the moment when we launched this transformation. It's very difficult, but as a human, I like adrenaline. That's why working with such projects, it gives me opportunity to get this adrenaline. Thank you very much. It's a great end of this conversation, of this presentation. Okay, now I'm giving the floor to Tony Edwards, CEO of Step Change Global, and he will be talking. He will be presenting the lessons learned from the application of remote operations centers in mining operations of Australia and the South and North Americas.
Thank you very much to Arthur and the team for organising an excellent event so far. We're really enjoying it. Again, it's great to be back in Kazakhstan. Spent some time here working on Karachaganak in a previous life, which was a lot of good fun. I'm here with my colleague Pavel Chetsov. I'm going to present in English, but if you've got any questions in Russian, he can field them for you afterwards. What I'm going to do is give you some very brief oversight of some lessons learned based on our experience of practically implementing digital transformation in Australia, Chile, Peru, and places like this. And I think there's a lot that you can learn from this. First of all, a little bit about Step Change Global. We are a small boutique consultancy that only does digital transformation. We don't do anything else. We don't do process workflow upgrade unless it's around digitally enabled process workflow upgrade. So this is all we do. We've been doing this since 2008. We started out working in oil and gas because that's a lot of our background, and for the last 10 years, we've also been working in mining. We work at a level whichever you need. We can work at corporate transformation level, which we've done for companies like Equinor, Statoil, Petronas, and others. We can work at the regional level, the asset level, or your first ever pilot, and we can help you implement your first digital pilot. We do integrated and remote operations center design and implementation, and that's primarily what I'm going to talk about it. We do digital technology advisory services, but we are absolutely agnostic to technology supply. We do not develop technology, we do not sell technology. What we are about is helping you make the most of the technology, that a lot of which you've already bought. So typically, when we go into an asset, we find that people already have data and information, they're just not using it. So we do the people, process, and organizational change for you to maximize the value from your technology spend, whatever that is. So we want the technology to work, but we don't care who you buy it from. Okay? We do streamline your processes and we enable them for digital enablement. We are very, very keen on change management, people and organizational change. And we develop a lot of remote operating models and new types of operating models which are remote, real-time, minimum staffed, global and regional models. And we've been doing this for more than 10 years. Just a little bit about who we work with. We've been very fortunate to work with some fantastic companies in oil and gas like BP, Equinor, Statoil, Total. Recently we've done a lot of work for Total, Repsol, in many parts of the world. We would say that there's a digital hotspot in Australia, and we were very fortunate to work with ConocoPhillips, Chevron, Woodside, Santos, nearly most of the oil and gas operators in Australia, and that's how we got into mining. Basically, we were invited into BHP because 10 years ago there was almost no experience in remote operations and integrated operations in mining. And BHP were trying to look ahead to do this, and they consulted with colleagues in Australia, in Santos and in Woodside, and that's how we ended up working in mining. Now, we see that there's a lot of similarities between oil and gas and mining. They're both extractive industries, they both do drilling, they both do maintenance, they do a lot of logistics. And we also see, importantly or interestingly, that the organisational cultures are just as big a problem in mining as they are in oil and gas. A little bit about operations centres. We've implemented 50 operations centres globally, about 40 of them in oil and gas, 10 of them in mining, and we've done them as small as, where's the pointer? We've done them as small as $20,000 for a small independent oil and gas company in Pittsburgh with 25 people and staff, all the way up to extremely large centres which have hundreds of people and multiple floors, for example with BHP and with Tech Resources. And so you know, we have a lot of experience in doing that, more experience than almost anybody else on the planet in doing, dedicated to how do you get, you know, your technologies, your data and information, and how you practically make decisions on having that data and information on a daily basis by your operations, engineering, planning teams. So, first question is, what is digital transformation or integrated operations? And those terms are interchangeable. Basically, it's about how do we implement all this long list of super technologies which keep coming over the horizon at us, and how do we practically implement that into our day-to-day operational processes, such as production, logistics, planning, and how do we do that? And everybody tends to talk a lot about the technologies. Everybody talks about digital twin, they talk about analytics, they talk about real-time data and information. But what we're interested in is what's the change in the way you work. So if you are an engineer that works for a mining company, how is your day-to-day life going to change because you've got all these technologies? And what we would say is that there are 3 or 4 main changes. One is about moving to a real-time or more real-time way of working. So problems that used to take days or even weeks to solve should take minutes, hours, or a shift. And that speeds everything up. Secondly, we see the removal of geographical location. You don't have to be at an operational site to contribute anymore. You can be remote. And certainly in oil and gas, we see global drilling support centres where, you know, BP's got a centre in London which we designed, and they're monitoring every well on the planet that they're drilling from one location. Thirdly, it's a move towards a multidisciplinary way of working. Instead of having siloed disciplines, subsurface and surface and geologists and mechanical engineers, we see that production optimization and planning is inherently a multidisciplinary task, and therefore you need multiple disciplines to deliver that process. And thirdly, finally, we see value chain integration, especially in mining, you know, mine, rail, pit, port, but we also see that in oil and gas and LNG operations in Australia. So we think about what's the effect on the people and how they work, and this is what we see, and this puts stress on your organization. This is a very important approach. You know, if you spend money on instrumentation and you measure data, you've then got to transmit data and store the data and information and make it available to engineers. That's fine. 10, 15 years ago, that was very expensive. Not so expensive now, not generally a barrier to doing something. But then you give this data and information to engineers and they do analysis on it. Some of that analysis might be automated with analytics, but it could be just engineers trending data and information. But they've then got to they've got to identify an opportunity to improve. Fine. But even when they do that, how do they then influence the operations teams who are in the field to actually to make that change in their daily life? And especially when they've been doing the same thing for 10 or 20 years. So we fundamentally believe that the problem is not a technology problem, it's an organizational change problem. Okay, and really digital transformation is the wrong name. We should be calling it digitally enabled organizational transformation, because that's what we're doing. And those digital technologies are going to keep coming over the horizon at us at an ever-increasing rate, and we need to have our organizations ready to accept those technologies as they arrive. But the fundamental thing is you have to have a trusting relationship between the guys who are doing the analysis and the guys in the field. Otherwise, the guys in the field will ignore it. And we've got a lot of evidence and experience from 15 years of doing this in oil and gas that this is the case. And without that trusting relationship, you might as well have not done it. You will just have, you know, what we say is a new technology plus an old organization equals an expensive old organization. So if you're going to buy this technology, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to stop doing? Because if it's just additive, you will end up falling into the trap of putting your costs up. Just some examples. This was the first integrated operations center we designed for mining, and it was BHP, Billiton, IROC. It's quite a famous one. You'll see YouTube videos about it. We designed this for BHP more than 10 years ago. It's been up and running for 10 years. The business case for this center was 1 extra train of iron ore every month at $5 million a train. After 6 months, they were getting 1 extra train of iron ore every 4 to 5 days. This entire center and all the support paid for itself in less than 6 months. And what you can see here is the layout, and the layout has got mine pods, it's got rail support, and it's got port support in there, all integrated in one value chain on one floor of the building. Very similarly, we then got asked to do BHP Escondida in Chile, which, as you know, is the biggest copper mine in the world. So we designed this center with 38 control desks. All of the supporting processes were in there, and this center's been now up and running for about five years. Very successful. It's become the standard way of doing things in BHP's big operations globally, and certainly, you know, they picked this up as the standard way of working, but we're seeing other companies adopt this way of working. So this is a gold mine support center in San Juan, Argentina, that we designed for Barrick Gold. Again, this is a smaller integrated operations center. It's only 5 to 6 controllers, but basically it's got the same processes running in that center, which is production optimization, maintenance and engineering support, integrated planning and scheduling, and also technical support. This one, interestingly, has a viewing area, so you can bring politicians around to show off how good you are at digital transformation. This is one that we designed about 3 years ago, and it's been up and running for a while now. So this is the QB2 copper mine in Chile for Tech Resources. So we designed this center up and running. This is one of the most interesting ones we've done. It's not only got remote control and remote planning and scheduling, but it's got all of the maintenance and engineering support for mechanical, electrical, mobile stuff. It's also got teams embedded in there which are doing frontline analytics. And we designed that entire center and provided the change management support for the implementation of that. And then this is one that we've done recently, which is a copper mine in Peru. So we designed that one last November. And that one's being fitted out at the moment, and we're supporting the team, Antamina team in Peru. And so this is becoming a standard way of working in certainly Australia. We've done them in Canada, in Chile, Peru, in South America, and it's really where your digital transformation, data and information comes together. It's where the technologies come into, and it's where you make the decisions. It's where you really transform the way you work, because just having the technologies won't do it. It's about, and just updating your processes won't do it. You've got to convince the people that this is a good thing, tackle the what's in it for me, and you need to update your organizational models, which is what we've been recommended with our clients in these cases. This is the last slide. We have a well-developed process that we do, and we can scale this process from a single asset all the way up to corporate, but typically we do discovery, vision, strategy, and principles. The thing that we're very keen about is what's your new operating model with this center and having the data and information. We then have a couple of tracks. One is the functional capability, which is really what are the processes you're going to run digitally enabled in the center, what are the technologies and solutions which are going to enable those processes to be done a different way, what's your new organizational governance model. We've then got a track around designing the center and standing the center up, most importantly, as the previous speaker said, program office management, change management, and how do you get everybody on board. So that's a very quick summary of the work that we've done in mining. We've done a huge amount of work in oil and gas as well. We're currently working with Kaznedra gas on an offshore platform in the Caspian, so we do have experience of working in Kazakhstan. And in the previous life, I spent some time in Karachaganak, so we understand the environment, but we think there's an absolutely huge opportunity here for the Kazakh mining community. But the key message is this is not just about the technology. This is about how you change the way you work, and importantly, how you align your organizational models to take advantage from the money you're spending on technology. So that's me done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. You provided very interesting presentation, and I believe we have time for one question. Could you please advise? You mentioned in the very beginning that you do not sell any solutions, and it is great as you can be objective while responding to this question. What are the key trends that you may see in the application of technologies in your niche?
You are not selling any software, so you are not biased, which is great. So what trends do you see in applying technologies in mining? Is it like some specific technologies, specific, I don't know, software, or is it more, to have a united process from the beginning to the end?
So we see two major trends. One is value chain integration. So in mines in Australia and the copper mines in Chile, where you have mine and processing and logistics, the integrating of those entities, whereas typically they've been run separately from different offices, with different systems and different data. So one is value chain integration, and there's a huge amount of value in that. I would say the value is optimizing the interfaces. If you just optimize the mine or just optimize the facilities, you don't get the value. You have to optimize the interfaces. So that's the number one trend. The number two trend, I would say, is these centers are in the middle of cities. They're not at the mine. So certainly in Chile, they're being developed in Santiago for mines which are 2 hours away on a plane and 4,000 meters up a mountain. We're seeing the one that we did in Peru is going to be in Lima. So the geographical dimension is going away. The ones we've done in Australia are in Perth, and the mines are thousands of kilometers away. So that's another trend. And we're also beginning to see, certainly in oil and gas, moving to global models. So companies like Equinor have got global centers for monitoring equipment. So they monitor rotating equipment for all of their operations from one place for the entire planet. And so we're seeing that is the next evolution. But there is an evolution, asset, region, global. So you have to do some asset stuff, and if you don't have the data from the core assets, you can't do the regional or the global stuff. But that's generally the trend.
Thank you very much. Спасибо большое. Спасибо тем, что поделились своим опытом.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having shared your experience, and let us applaud Tony. Okay, and the next speaker is Nick Valetov, Director of K-Mine Group. Nick, as far as I understand, he will be share about the tool K-Mine and about digital managing of a mining company who is using this tool. Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. I am Nikita. I'm from our business team, and I am responsible for development of our European office and relations with partners in South America. So today maybe I will talk more about conceptual topics, the topics like what is our vision of the development of our industry, how do we plan to develop our products, and what are the trends that we can observe. Before I start discussing the topic of my presentation, I would like to tell a couple words about what our company is doing. The company is existing for more than 30 years, and our office is based at Ukraine, at Kryvyi Rog town. where we have the majority of our staff, both technical staff and IT, and also we have offices at Canada, at US, at Singapore, and also in some other European countries. Speaking about our product, we have a wide range of different 12 modules that have been designed for open pits, mining operation, and also for the underground. And on top of that, we have a customized solutions like opportunity to integrate with different dispatch control systems and platforms. And we are also actively operating and developing such directions as web services and web applications. And I believe it will be the key topic I would like to discuss with you. On top of that, one of the most important areas where we are working is the consulting services. We also have a vast experience and a range of services that we provide in this area. We perform the services on establishment of digital twins, and we are also capable to make technical and economic calculations, establish feasibility studies, and present and provide complete reports on CRISC-KNI standards and as well as JORC. For the moment, we have about 500 different clients. That includes both big corporations, holdings, and also we have different mine open pits consulting companies. So we have quite a vast experience and with significant geographical coverage. So what is our vision and what are the key trends that we observe in the industry? This is kind of a migration to web services to Web 3.0. What does it mean? We observe the trend that there are a lot of companies which are already implementing IT technologies for continuous monitoring of the equipment in real-time mode. And also we observe that a lot of solutions based on AI and machine learning is implemented for business analytics and so as to optimize manufacturing process. And also we observe the third trend, and this trend is not very massive, but it is actively discussed, and we receive a lot of interesting news about it, like Australian Ministry of Mining sector has invested significant amounts of money in blockchain project that would assess the marketplace to track the outbounding, the origination of products. This is what IBM company is doing. Some certain trends, already appearing, and then a little bit interesting information on one of known research and analytic companies made a very interesting survey. Average at the market, we have already 65 companies all over the globe which have somehow integrated at least one solution based on IoT capacities and technologies. 33% of companies were trying to develop, but something went wrong. They were lacking budget or competence, but still in the future they consider this type of transformation. If you have a look at North American market, you will see that 98% have already implemented at least one object. And they did it successfully in implementing at least one IoT project. We believe that so as to start transformation in this area, we have to construct some base, some foundation. And this regards the possible base of foundation can be so-called traditional software for mining sector. What is our vision? Everything starts with the geology, as modeling of the deposit, resources assessment. Actually, it is a construction of block models, and when we got a block model, we can take initial economic analysis and then receive optimum constraints, and we start designing. In our product, it is possible to make automatically engineering and design of the project. It is quite easy and simple, and then we can take care of safety also using the module of sustainability of walls, and we can calculate the ratio and factors of this resource.
The next stage, when we got the project, then we have to plan the schedule and also to develop the consequence of the development and of the extraction. And then we can also plan blasting and then assess the gram and composition, and then we can assess the quality of our work. Then in the next module of mark shaders, then there is an opportunity to change the database and update the mining activity. And also it is an opportunity for the operators to get the information about the location of the equipment and so forth and so on and so forth. When we build this base, when there is a foundation, then we can try to transform, implement web applications, IoT, BI, and AI platforms implementation and introduction. In our understanding, what we're working on, it's a transformation into 3 levels. Let's say on the first level, just a second. Okay, here. At the first level, we have an opportunity to monitor the equipment in the real time mode. The operator can get the information about the status of the equipment, location of the machinery, the temperature of the oil, the level of the liquids, and so on and so forth. And the operator gets this information in real time. The next level, it's a kind of a predictive analysis and alerting the respective services about the occurring of some anomalies. Something is going on wrong, and then the operator gets the warning, for example, that the level of the cooling liquid is dropping, and this problem can be identified at the initial stage before the problem becomes critical, before the equipment becomes critically damaged and didn't turn into idle mode. And then the next level, so it's a business analytic level already, and the level of the management of the company. It means that a lot of data are being collected, consolidated in one place, and then the management and the analytical centers are able to get information about that something is going wrong in advance. They have the opportunity to track the anomalies, and it means that the problems could be resolved before it becomes a great one. Also, it can be accelerated further at the level of the holding. In the same way, if the company has a lot of assets, it's difficult to manage them. But for that, we have the opportunity to have the centralized system of collecting and storing the data. And then at the level of the holding, it is possible to get different levels of reporting, different information about the status of the equipment, and making the decisions based on that, and saving the assets and managing the assets properly. Those companies that have implemented already these technologies, they reported that during the first year of using these technologies, they were able to save about 4%, and they have the optimistic ideas that in the next 3 to 5 years, they will be able to save up to 14–15%. That's it. That's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you, Nikita, very much. Very interesting. we are in Kazakhstan, and I would like to ask you any examples whether you have utilized your product in Kazakhstan, our product or Web3 technologies. Both. Actually, we have clients in Kazakhstan. We work with Kaznedra. We work with Kazakhmys Gold. Before that, Kazakhstan was not our target market. We didn't pay much attention to Kazakhstan. We were working with Western companies and Ukraine. But recently, we decided to change our views. And at the beginning of this year, we decided to make Kazakhstan our targeted market. That's why we'll be coming more often here. We'll see each other more often, and we'll be expanding our partnership networks, our partnerships, and hopefully we hope for new projects with new clients. Thank you very much. Let's thank the speaker. And our next presentation is about geological data. The age of data collection, processing, and interpretation. And the speaker is Alexander Frolov, team lead, CSS, Sequent Company. Thank you, colleagues. Hello, I'm glad to see everyone here. This is the first session today, so that's why I can see those people who are interested in this information. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending this first session. My presentation is related to data. In all the spheres of our life, the number of data that we have, that we see, and those data that can be collected, used, processed, and the number of data increasing drastically. And the same in geological sector, mining sector. Data are the key resources in our sector as well. So that's why the volumes of the information are growing every day, and there is a need to process this data and work with this data, so extracting the maximum benefit from those data. In my speech, in my presentation, I would like to discuss this topic, how modern technologies and the big data and modern software, how they are interacting, and how all this transformation transforms our sector in general. And I would like to start my presentation with the following. I would like to tell about small history. Small story. Let's imagine Canada several years ago. A great specialist, Leanne Boer, resource geologist, consultant. She understands how to interpret geophysical, geochemical data, and what is important, she can work with the modern software. So luckily, she was on maternity leave, actually, and she had a lot of time, spare time. We know Canada is a leading country in terms of geological and mining industry. And Geological Service of Canada, for many, many years, for decades, they are digitalizing all the historical data, placing them in open for open use, and also they publish data on geological surveys and geological imaging. Line, she's a professional. She's thinking about her job all the time. But when she had spare time, she started to study Canada maps. She started to look for open sources of the information and looking for the information about sulfides. What did she do? She identified direct, indirect, such characteristics, such parameters, and she downloaded the data of the magnetic imaging, electromagnetic imaging, air imaging. She found historical maps, and she interpreted all these data comprehensively. And that's why she found a lot, an area in Obonga and in her opinion, it was promising for sulfides. She planned 6 wells, 6 holes, and when she had more time, she found investors, and she proved to the investors that this lot, this area, is with great potential, and if they invested, so they would get return of their investments. Several months ago, they finalized the first stage of drilling of 6 wells, and you could see the first results. They identified several zones of mineralization, zinc, copper, silver, and other elements. Why I told you this story? I want you to start thinking that we are living in a very interesting time. Not leaving our home, we can reduce the risks of explorations drastically, saving time and money, actually, for exploration. Secondly, I would like to tell you, can you imagine how much data we can have about historical geological data? Those who can utilize, process, interpret these data, they are just in great demand now because they are in the forefront of the sector, of the industry. And also what is interesting, I mentioned geological software. Now we are living in such a time when geological software can have an impact on the industry from the inside, and it helps to develop the industry faster, and this development is now going on in more thoughtful and way based on the information. Where do we get all this data? First of all, we have the increased volumes of different geological surveys and explorations. If you ask the question, how many geological imaging are done with the drones, they say that these volumes are increasing every year. It means that every year the volumes of geological imaging is increasing. Also, the digitalization of all the geological processes are going on, and also there is a digitalization of the mining industry in general going on very drastically. Also, new technologies of data collection are appearing every day, so using drones and airborne geophysics, new geophysical devices, methods, and so on and so forth. And also, historical data are being digitalized. It means that all our old data are being digitalized that we can use in softwares. Let's have a look from the point of view of the user, how it looks like, and those companies that are developing software. The users are telling now that the users, they are not processing the information manually. In most of the cases, they are using software for processing the information, the data. So we have more and more data. That's why the users need more time for processing. And they need more knowledge about the software. Sometimes, very often actually, the software is quite complicated, and in order to start using this software, you need to spend time, like 1, 2, 3 months, to learn how to use this software. From the point of view of the developers, this software should be updated all the time, adapted for the new needs. Some data, correlation of some data is very interesting, and it needs to be taken into account, and also all the processes for data processing should be simplified for the users, and that's the work for the developers. We understand that geologist should not be the developer, the programmist, the developer of the software. He is not the developer of the software. The software that is used by the geologist should be maximum in use and should be as simple as possible for the geologist to use, and should correspond to the needs of the geologist. Okay, our solutions of Sequent, how we are designing our systems. For example, exploration, geological exploration works. For example, there is a deposit. This is a database on wells. This is the catalog of photographs, imago, geological modeling and interpretation, leapfrog, geo, and also leapfrog and age. These are the modeling available for assessing the resources and reserves. We understand that every tool should be simplified, simple to use, but it should be very narrow in its usage. But it's difficult to bring it together in one software. But we tried to do that, and we divided it into different modules, and it's an optimal option. The users, the geologists in different areas, they can use these modules separately, and it's simple to implement and to use, and its utilization and efficiency of utilization is increasing. Just an example, leapfrog for one of the deposits, Astromine company, they started to develop geological model using the software, but then they faced several problems such as updating and building in 700s of lines in one model. They understood that they would need like several months to do this work. They stopped it, and then they analyzed the machine and started to use leapfrog.
They have modeled this 700 veins for 2 months, and then they also saved the time, as leapfrog allowed to update the model automatically. When the database is added with testing outcomes or core descriptions, the models are automatically updated. That saves time. So this tool shows if this tool is simple and clear, then in hands of geologists, it shows very good outcomes. On top of that, I would like to say a couple words about cloud solutions. We see that there are lots of them in the market. Many companies bring these solutions to the market and in different areas of mining and geology industry. I would like to tell a couple words about advantages and disadvantages of using cloud solutions, because talking to clients, we understand that not everyone understands very well what are the advantages and disadvantages of the solutions. These four advantages, and these are the flexibility and scalability. Just imagine a situation. You have a database that needs to be maintained, and during the field period, it is used by 40 persons. So during computer use, only 3 persons are used, and the ones who are dealing with interpretation. The cloud solutions allow you to change the type of license in a number of licenses during a year, as it is required by a client, as that results to significant savings. The second advantage is availability and opportunity of joint use. The cloud allows to use the database from any point all over the globe and provides an opportunity for joint work for the geologists or administrators of databases at the same time. And each of them is working with the same database. It's not a version 1, 2, 3 or final version. It is the same database, and it is always updated and online available. The third clear advantage is hardware. You know, there are technologies of databases which are based at servers inside the companies. They require IT servicing and availability of server itself, and the implementation is very difficult because a lot of processes need to be implemented. So cloud solutions are implemented at the companies much faster. Usually takes first couple days of a week, and the user does not need to buy and update powerful computers, because modern software requires it. As it is cloud-based, the user uses cloud resources, and he or she would need very ordinary computers stable computers or telephones, and they will not have to update them every year and support their capacities. And the last item is implementation and project implementation. I would say that cloud solutions are faster implemented in all these sectors. It's a fact. There are also disadvantages, and I have to mention it. First of all, it's the availability of internet. Sometimes it is very critical. If you do not have access to internet, then some advantages of cloud are lost because you update databases a little bit later when you have an access to internet. And also you have some restrictions with the volume of data. Sometimes it happens that big volumes of data cannot be transported via internet because of lower speed. And in cloud, some functions may be connected to some architecture of a cloud, and sometimes functional is limited. And the last and the most obvious disadvantage is you will not be able to work with a database if it is kept only in the cloud. And as example of a hybrid cloud system, I would like to tell you about the solution Deposit, which is available at Sequent. This is a cloud database that allows you to keep data on code description, sample collection, and send certificates to laboratory, and receive certificates to laboratory, connect them, and prepare the database for modeling. So the solutions operate on cloud, but you can also save and keep your data at your smartphones, and that creates a hybrid scheme when you keep some data at air and another part of data you keep at your devices, and you can interact and using them. And I would like to give you an example of using by this solution by Turkish company Tumat. It allows and significantly decrease the time of replenishment of database working with it. They remove a lot of errors, and they said that it was very easy, simple for them. And also we have a solution, Imago. It became very popular due to its simplicity and easiness to use, as well as its functioning. Also, this solution is capable to be placed in the cloud, and the data can be also kept at your smartphones. You see the pictures how of the solution, how it's work. It is very ordinary and simple solution. You can approach to our booth and test these solutions. And the last thing I would like to talk about, which is a trend, and it comes from different companies, big or small. It is a smooth use of data. What smooth use of data means? It means that you can use geophysical data for modeling, and then you can use geological model to design underground workings, and you can use this data during the entire life cycle of your facility. In Sequent, we develop ecosystems that provides the users to choose the elements that they need, but we construct them within the same work process that helps and pushes the user for correct use of these solutions and recovery of maximum benefits from the data. And on this background, we develop EVA platform, and I would like to devote a couple of slides to this platform. We understand that the future is our vision of a future is a new platform that would allow the users to combine not only our solutions together, but also to combine cloud-based solutions, table-based solutions, and their own solutions or other software that they would like to use. For instance, they would like to make geological models in LeapFrog, but to prepare project work, and they would like to use some other solutions like DESWIC. And our platform would allow to connect these solutions through APIs through our system called EVA. And in this system, we see the future of all geological solution for coming next years, as we have deviated from the paradigm when we propose only our solutions in the market. No, we are open, we are prepared for cooperation, and we have that provided access to our system, to our partners, and you see they are listed on a slide. And now this looks like when the user decides which software and services they will use, but not the companies that create software that push the user which software to use. With this, I'll close, and thank you for your kind attention. Thank you, Alexander. I'm afraid that we don't have any time for questions and answers, but still thank you for your presentation. Well, and the next speaker will talk about blasting and drilling and system of dispatcher and the examples of improving efficiency based on digital technologies of GeoMix. I'm happy to invite Technical Director of GeoMix, Andrei Vladimirovich Gerasimov. Andrei Vladimirovich, good morning, welcome. Good morning, colleagues. Digital technologies become an ordinary scene. If previously any software turned around, but now any digital technologies requires to provide some economic effects. I will talk about our experience, about the things that we managed to achieve, and I would also like to share economic effects that we managed to achieve after implementation of our digital technologies. Several words about GeoMix. Maybe we are not very well known, and maybe it is our fault. Maybe we do not give enough time to promotion and marketing, and now we are taking efforts to do that. GeoMix is a system that has been developed based on Virgin Institute. It's a complex institute established in 1959. It included as a key specialist in different areas like surveying, geology, blasting operations in close cooperation with Moscow State University. Early 90s, we made a decision to establish a mining and geology information system, and now we call it GeoMix. In principle, our history, we can tell you that we have been existing in the market for 30 years, and we believe that the bigger companies of Russian Federation and Kazakhstan, we can boast Donskoy, combined plant, Bogatyr, open pit. They use GeoMix. It is a comprehensive software that combines all specialists and allows them to work on our system, which provides them an opportunity to create a mining and geological model. If we take Lebelinsky combined plant and other plants, about 150 jobs where all the surveyors, geologists, technologists, they create so-called uniform digital space. They update and replenish this mining and geological model. One of the key parts is blasting and drilling operations. In my presentation, I will focus on blasting operations more. Here we have two technologies. One of them is establishment of a project for mass blasting and blasting modeling. These are the key technologies that prove significant advantages in the economy of the project. And in early 2000 and mid-2000, we made a decision to create it, as we understand that some link is lacking between planning and daily and weekly planning. If we plan completely, then the reliability of information is suffering, because blast masks its adjustments. It pushes rock mass and also mixes the rock mass. So the issues of averaging, optimization of losses and dilutions, all this is happening at the moment of a blast. And at the same time, we started using the technology of blast modeling. Now it is implemented and it is passed through piloting tests, and it has been installed at several companies with verification and with the confirmation that the convergence of the model is almost 90%, and we state the convergence of 80% and even more. But with every new deposit, with every new company, usually there's a experimental test, and it is always a confirmation of the results of our model, and it is a confirmation which are confirmed with real blasts. So at every company where we have implemented this model, the model, as I have already mentioned, provides a convergence of 90% and more. This model allows us to resolve several tasks at the same time. And I will have to mention that these tasks are very important for manufacturing process. Due to its convergence equal to 90%, we do not need to have actual surface because our data are of high quality. So our model, we call it and you may see it, and we can start the video now. The company made about 200 numerical experiments so as to identify the optimal parameters of blasting. So they played with the data and found the net of blasting. So they managed to minimize loss and dilution as well of dispersion of rocks.
Okay, we cannot start the video. Okay, you can see now. What you can see here, all these videos so that you can see these are real facilities. We can tell that we haven't seen such examples anywhere else. These are examples of the facilities of the pits where we walked already. We conducted the tests there. For different types of deposits, you are able to resolve different tasks. If you're talking about gold mines, the gold deposits, first of all, you optimize your losses and decrease dilution. And you can see this example. In 15 blocks, we reduced losses twice, actually. And it's not my information, it's not my data. Last year, MINEX, that was conducted in Moscow, the Polus company specialist, they mentioned we decreased the losses twice, actually. If you multiply it at the cost of the cold, you can see the economic effect. You can save 5 million rubles at every block just by these savings, because we are clarifying the information about the contacts of the body of the rocks. This is the model that you can get, and then it allows to be engaged in daily and weekly planning, and with that we are increasing the reliability of the information that you are using further for your next tasks. And if earlier you were planning for the whole rocks, and after that modeling, our blasting modeling, you can already plan based on the dilution data that you get from our model. So for the gold deposits, you can optimize the losses. For iron ore deposits, you can see such companies as Yevrahim and LMK. With this modeling, you can stabilize the quality. the results you can get from our modeling can be used in the systems that are used for weekly and daily planning, and you can use it. You can use modeling in your systems that you're using in your production. We have the experience of our modeling to be integrated with any systems that are used all over the world, actually. This week, Surpak, Nokamine, and Datamine, and GeoMix as well. GeoMix also has some planning tools. That's why we believe that we are quite okay. We can compare ourselves with other modeling, but with our modeling in our GeoMix system, you can have automatic planning as well based on the data that you receive, and automatically we can determine the load. We can place excavators without even a person involved. Meaning that all this data collected and based on this data, several options are provided for the operator, for the person, and the person makes the decision. This is example of the Verninska deposit. We were using BMT sensors. They were using in Polus mine as well. In our company, we developed our own sensors, and we use not only electronic sensors, but we can use also markers, certain markers. For example, we can have metal and wooden ones, meaning that we have verification not only on the surface. It's one of the factors, but also we can confirm the results of the modeling of in the internal structure using our electronic sensors or markers. Blasting, it's a very popular area now. The energy efficiency of the drilling is well known, and GeoMix, we are paying great attention to that in our company. We are paying great attention to the energy intensity of the blasting. We are getting telemetric data from the drilling rigs, and then we identify a blasting category developed by Kutuzov, because not only lithographic factor is taken into account during drilling, but the geological structure factor is also taken into account. And GeoMix, we managed to achieve technological approach of this process. Based on the results of the drilling, we can optimize the structure of the blasting, we can optimize the blasting grid, and it allows us not impacting the quality of blasting. The quality of blasting is the same, but at the same time we are able to save for other factors like the volumes of the blasting, for example. In our companies, for example, in Kuzbas, we implemented it, and the economic effect is from 5 to 10%. The blast modeling is used for gold, for example, but at the other facilities in Kuzbas for coal mines, we implemented this approach, this technology for blasting. These are actual figures that we managed to achieve, and we can save with the blasting area and the explosives as well. This blasting module, we have some priority areas, and the blasting module is one of the priority modules and areas, and we are developing it, and And we get in not just a process for the sake of the process. Actually, using our blasting module, you can have an economic effect and impact and save money, and our companies are very interested in that. Sorry for interrupting. I'm almost done. GeoMix is being developed. This is the system. It's not only for 2023. We are further developing this system. We'll be using web technologies for our GeoMix system. We have understanding of our ultimate goal, and this is a system that is being developed in the modern market conditions, take into account the developments of our competitors. So import substitution is a very important topic, but actually GeoMix is the system that can be competitive with the leading Western softwares and systems and programs. You're well aware of them, but we have these key areas, key parameters that have been implemented in GeoMix systems more efficiently and better than in our competitors. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. Thank you. Thank you. I'm afraid we do not have time for questions. If there is time at the end of the session, then we will ask those questions. The next speaker is Mr. Oleg Zhavoronkin, Deputy General Director, Atolis Company, Mining Data Management. This is his topic. Thank you, Inna. First of all, okay, the mic is on. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone at this event. Secondly, firstly, thank me, and this is the first session of the second day, and this is the difficult part, actually, because it's difficult to start thinking about work. That's why thank you for coming to listen to the morning session presentation, including mine. I would like to talk about our vision and our approach in terms of digital transformation, digitalization, based on the data management, geological data management. As you can see from today's agenda, from the presentations of the first part of the day, second part of the day, this topic is very relevant, and we have observed different scenarios that are not traditional for mining companies, but nevertheless, data management, these words are becoming more and more popular and used by the people engaged in digital transformation. Couple of words about our company. Yes, actually, we are not well known in the mining sector. We started to be engaged in mining sector just recently, starting 2016. Maybe even 17, but before that, for more than 25 years, almost 25 years, we are helping our customers in finding different digital solutions. We are helping oil and gas companies, helping them to explore and extract. And our mission now is those experience that we have gained in oil and gas sector. You know that in oil and gas sector for the recent 25 years, this sector was one of the leader in the area of implementing different digital solutions, and we would like to use this experience and shift them to other sectors. The main idea, the main approach, our philosophy of data management that we are using in our digital platform is like that. Just recently, yesterday, I was talking to my colleagues from Sequent company in their leaflet, I read such a statement: you have to deal with digitalization of your data. It's not our statement, but we can use it for our approach as well. Sorry for this kind of systemic-centric slide, but using these graphics, you can see our idea. In any mining company, it means a lot of data, big data, different various data used at the different stage of the life cycle of the asset, starting from spacious data, spacious modeling, from exploration, different maps, different data from GIS, geoinformation systems, data about reserves, data from different production cycles, geological data mentioned by the previous speaker, a lot of data on the designs that are kept in different types of information, such as papers, drawings, digitalized drawings or papers, using modern softwares. At the bottom part, you can see the drilling rig. Most of the drilling equipment or mining equipment is the source of the information, again, and source of additional data. And currently, in big companies especially, they have a great experience gained in the area of implementing of some recording systems, so EAP systems. These are traditional databases accumulating a great deal of information that are stored using existing solutions. All these data categories, they are isolated from each other, and our mission is to merge this data. It doesn't mean that we will transfer all this data in one database, in one storage capacity facility. And no, we are going to provide some digital platform that will allow to bring together all this data and make some operational decisions. And of course, if we are using this approach, it means that the integration part is very important. It can be different for different types and categories of data, for different pieces of equipment.
The key importance is integration bar of data and the key positioning of such solutions and interaction with other components at the same time. On the slide, you see the examples. Actually, there are a lot of more cases in our digital platform and in other platforms which have been existing in the market. And the ways of interaction can be also different, and they can be aimed to resolve one of key tasks, to combine all the data in business meaningful information and involve it into decision-making process. Several words about functional architecture. On the slide you see functional architecture of the digital platform, but actually similar class solutions have similar architecture. As a rule, it comprises of 3 levels. The first level is some data management tools, ETM, ETL task solutions, ontology description if data management is based on some business-oriented approach. The second level allows to involve already processed data into different business processes, to cover them with some manufacturing specifics. And the highest level, which is the most interesting and that provides the maximum effect, is the level of applied solutions. I would like to provide more examples and scenario in second part of my presentation. The scenarios which we demonstrate as a certain business case. When a lot of said about data management, some system associations may be unknown. In this case, it is just a tool to resolve certain business tasks. As the first task, it is a very basic task. An integrated resource model of a pit or integrated pit. And we have a lot of disputes. What does it mean? And because everyone has own vision of it. And we are also not an exclusion. For us, digital pit is a digital structure of data, and this class of solutions allow us to fulfill this task. The second task is also of applied nature. Value of any mining company is first of all resources, and significant investments are done to provide these resources. So the task of forecasting the ore-bearing capacities and construction of local and regional forecasts is an approach which complexes the data and criteria. For one of our clients, we resolved this task. It provided very good outcomes. Unfortunately, 10-minute format would not allow me to speak more about every format, but you see real cases from real life. And on top of that, this famous phrase that two geologists may have three opinions, but generalization of these opinions is more economically reasonable. Management of the resources, geological exploration works. You know that the instrument of project management in geology exploration is a standard, and many companies are using certain common set of tools, but still specific data which are involved in geological exploration process defines the use of the scenario also. And support to mining operations actually mass level or scenario defining the use of the tools in the format of math system, which at the most expensive stage of operation allows to decrease cost and control the productivity. And about anchoring, you see 90% of disasters happens due to improper anchoring, and a lot of geological scattered information and comparison of project and actual analysis of work is one of the key tasks, not only from the point of view economic profitability, but also from the point of view of the most important thing, saving life and health of an employee. Couple words about technical part. It is clear that we see more and more data, and technical part of construction of these solutions has significant importance. The architecture can be deviated, centralized, consolidated, and so on. In this context, everything is decided by an applied task. And at the end of my presentation, I say a couple words on the format. What's that? It's not a secret that at everyday life we are using our tools of AI, and in our professional lives a lot of charts with AI can be used when you ask questions and receive responses. And in our opinions, the key value of all the companies, first of all industries, are the data. And the data and everything which is constructed around data systems. So this is the future, and I would like to finish with it, and thank you for your kind attention. Thank you, Oleg. I think we'll ask questions at the end of the session if we have time. So now we have listened on how to manage mining and geological data in general. The next presentation will be devoted to digitalization and digital transformation of drilling operations. The floor is provided to Mikhail Demidovich, the head of implementation of technology and support of Agora SF. Distinguished colleagues, I'm very happy to be back to Astana and on the stage, and I'm thankful to organizers of MINEX Forum and to all of you for having come to this session today. I'm Mikhail Demidovich, and the topic of my presentation today is digital transformation of drilling works. I say a couple words about the company at the beginning. We call ourselves IGR Software, and we are dealing with the automation of all geological exploration in general. We create software solutions that simplifies the life for ordinary geologists and for geotechnicians to the managers involved in this complex process of geological exploration. As for now, among our clients, we have almost all bigger companies of Russian Federation, Kazakhstan, and some other countries, and we have implemented about 100 of projects, and we have accumulated significant experience of digitalization of geological exploration sector. The key solutions that we use is software system HER. It is a software complex comprising of several modules allowing us to digitalize, automate different aspects of geological exploration. And the core of our complex is a server which we call HER data control, and different modules are connected to the server, allowing us to resolve more narrow and applied tasks related also to data input. The most important thing here is that during 15 years we have been dealing with digitalization, and we have faced during our existence with absolutely different problems and issues, and we successfully implemented our solutions in different parts of geological exploration. But still, the part of drilling, the core of the core, the very initial, when the data acquisition comes on the structure of subsoil was forgotten. Geological exploration is a very conservative sector, and drilling and all the other aspects related to it among drilling operators are very conservative among all geological exploration staff. When we started working with the systems, we have analyzed how the system is arranged in general by existing companies. All the accounting in drilling is performed on paper. Usually it is a drilling log and some other documents that are prepared as a project and maintained by drilling operators, drilling masters, the account of drilling tools, drilling fuel. This process is accompanied with a huge paperwork that require people to fill out a lot of documents, and the drilling master has to sit and analyze all these documents and deliver this information in Excel or pictures to central office, and sometimes it is done on a background of pure communication capacities. And a lot of time have passed before the management receives this information in a digital form and become capable to analyze it. But it is not convenient to analyze this data in the form of Excel sheets, which is very long, and the efficiency of all this work is very low, and some information is lost and some information arrives late. Out of doubt, there are some solutions to resolve this task. We have telemetric systems that collect a lot of technical parameters of drilling and dispatching systems that allow us to track the position of drilling rigs and their conditions. But no solution, or there are very few solutions that allow us to have a comprehensive approach to a drilling project in general, and says that we have a complete digitalization of the process. So we have added HRS system with the solutions that have been specially designed for digitalization of drilling projects. And we started with the basis of the basis with what is happening at the drilling area. First of all, we substituted drilling logs on paper with the digital analysis. For all drilling rigs, we install tablet computers with software, with HR model, with the console of driller. It allows us to maintain all the logs which are required in the process of work in a digital form. And we have worked a lot on interface, because the drilling operators, they are ordinary workers, and the interface should be maximum simplified, should be primitive. The most important part is the big green button that allows the drill operator to do manual input of any operation if it is required. And once this button is pressed, time tag is registered and all other additional parameters required if it is requested if it is required. So using this simple tool, we immediately ensure all downstream operations at digital basis. So all operations are introduced by a drilling operator in the process of work, and immediately the check of the input is done, and all the parameters are also registered, and all this is added to the database when all this information is collected. And if it is possible, we also connect the data from telemetric equipment. The majority of modern drilling rig has been equipped with certain sensors that allow us to avoid requesting everything from a drilling operator and collect the information on the situation with a drilling rig in the automated mode. But our first implementation for control of drilling operations was a project in a partnership with Eastern Drilling Company. It is a company which is a leading one in the market in CIS.
This is the most technologically advanced and developed companies, and they have different fleet of the drilling equipment, and it was their request. They want the system to be as universal as possible. We don't want to be linked just to telemetric data, because it would mean to be linked with the hardware. But our solution, our dashboard, can be installed in any drilling equipment, any drill rig, and that's why, because of that, you can digitalize your whole project. And this is the solution for the drillers, can be added with other modules. There can be a different module for the drill masters, so using the same tablet, so he can find the information about the shift, what was done in the previous shift, and so on and so forth. And then all these data are being collected to our server. Here, of course, we had to develop such synchronizing method that will allow us to work in such regions where there is no stable internet connections, because this is the real thing. We don't have internet connection everywhere, but our system allows to work without internet connection at the drill rigs. So this is the tablet of the drill master, can be the link between the driller and then with the center. All the data being collected automatically. It means that at the server we can accumulate all the data in structured way, meaning that drilling masters do not have now to key in all the information in Excel format, collect all the drilling logs, paper ones. Everything is done automatically. So actually masters now, they don't have to check what is going on at the drilling rig, because now they can see all this information automatically. It means that there is an opportunity for the master to check it automatically. Those who are working in the office, they have unprecedented tool to be used. They can control the overall drill project. It means that they have all the statistics available, detailed ones, and our tool, you cannot talk about complete digital transformation of all the drilling projects if you do not add this module of the drilling planning. At our planning module, you can include the parameters of all the drilling project conducted by the drilling company, and then the system will tell you what kind of time is needed to implement this project with the current capacities. For example, if the the number of rigs are changed, then the system will tell you whether the timeline of your project is changing because of that. And the management of the drilling company, this system is a tool of them to control the efficiency of each driller. Each staff, for example, you can see it in the system. It is obvious. For example, if one drill rig operator is drilling faster in the same rocks, or you can see that in some of the drilling rigs, so the tools are being utilized and have to be replaced faster than in the other ones, then it means so that you need additional training for some of your staff. Our solution have been implemented by several companies using VBK company. So our system proved to be efficient, meaning that up to 8 million rubles per year you can save per drill rig. And this is our estimates. And of course, if you are part of our project, it means that the timeliness of the data exchange is 100%, and your drilling project is 100% transparent with our system. In traditional methods, very often what we can see, there is a problem with communication between different participants of this exploration. We know this document, this is the geological technical order for drilling. Very often the drillers, drill operators, they don't see this document. Either the geologist didn't give it to us, or, for example, the 5 drills have been 5 holes have been drilled already, and only then the drill operators, so they got these orders, requests for drills. But it means that it means the less efficiency, and that's why our system helps here. And if Geological Service is using our system as well, then our system provides opportunity to exchange data between geologists and drillers in a timely manner, because then geologists can see the information immediately, and then the drillers can see this request for drilling in real-time manner, order mode, and then the system can also advise the drillers. For example, the driller a drill operator is warned that, for example, the next hole should be drilled, but the condition of the rock is very hard, and he takes it into account. I'm done with that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mikhail. Sorry for interrupting you, but your time is off. Then we are going to have the online connection. We heard about the presentation of GeoMix about improving the efficiency of blasting, and the same topic will be presented by Thierry Bernard. He will be talking about the same topic.
Good day, everybody, and thank you for joining this session where we're going to speak about how Blast Digital Twin can support sustainability. To start, I would like to just give you a few words about the future of mining that is written with the keywords sustainable, electric, remote, intelligent, and digital. And regarding blasting, obviously, the future is going to be also sustainable, it's going to be supported by a high level of digital technology and automation and AI. If you look at blasting, the key output of blasting are through the fragmentation, but we've got also some drawbacks like the vibration, the noise, the fumes and the dust, sometimes the firework, sometimes we wasting some ore. So we've got a big challenge that is the waste to value chain. And if you look at how this Blast Digital transformation can support sustainability and the processes around collecting data, sharing data, analyzing data, and finally optimizing the process, that's where the added value is, and where the digital twin can help a lot for that, especially in the blasting. Let's have a look to the Blast Digital Twin. As you know, digital twin is more than a simulation. It's an emulation, and it's a replica of an object or process that is connected to the real world. When we talk about blasting and blast, we talk it's connected with the terrain that can be captured by the drone. It's connected to the drills, to the on-site information that some operator can capture, can be connected to the explosive tracks, and also after or during the blast can be connected to any sensor such as the seismographs or the air blast sensors, and also to drones to capture, for example, the fragmentation after the blast on the mudpile. The key things is that a digital twin is something that is based on physics. It's totally different from AI, that is, let's say, on statistics. Here, it's really the physics that drives the process. This is an example of the digital twin on a quarry operation to have a good understanding of the process. On the bottom here, you've got the real blast, and here you've got the digital twin that emulates the process. You can really see what is happening. If you look at here on the bottom video, you're going to see a rejection somewhere here in the middle due to weakness of the rock. And if you look at the digital twin, it will see exactly the reactions. Here you can see the fragmentation, the different rock sizes. And if you color coded, you can have a better view like this. And once again, if you play the emulation, you're going to see it's really duplicating the real world, very close to the reality like this. So that's what is a digital twin. It can work also for the vibrations. Like here, you're going to see houses here, and you're going to see the vibrations radiating on the ground, predicted by the digital twin. As far as the detonations are progressing, and at the back here, you're going to see the movement of the blast as we've seen before. So the digital twin is really a tool to predict the outcome of the blast and move from risk to no risk. And either for environmental, let's say biodiversity or geotechnical risk. It can be applied to any kind of blasting operation. It could be surface, underground, tunneling, field blasting, whatever. The techniques works just because it's very complete. The Blast Digital journey to support sustainability using the digital twin. It starts with the drone that capture, let's say we set the terrain, and then we did the blast design and the software, and then you got field data capture, such as the feedback with the drills that can do measurement by drilling and report the rock strength or any information captured by the operator. And then you run your digital twin to predict the blast and optimize the parameters. And then you get the blast, and then you get the fragmentation measurement and all the environmental control with the vibration, air blast, and also analysis of the carbon footprint. And at the end of the day, you can have a look at all this information either in real-time analysis for all the sensors or looking at dashboard and KPIs. So it gives to the management lots of information, like the right decision. This is an example with Vale in Brazil. They had this dam accident, telling dam accident in 2019. Terrible accident, and then all the blasting will stop in this area, and they have to recover and resume the blasting in this area. Here you've got an example. This is the pit. This is the closest dam where the vibration is 1 meter per second, and the goal is to guarantee the vibrations level. This is a view of the dam and the sensors. And you got also natural caves here that we have to protect. Just a few pictures of these caves. And if you look at here, the first stage is to use the digital twin for that. So here you got the view of the blast, and here you have the simulated blast with the digital twin. You can really see that the movement is very similar to what you can see in the video, except the dust. If you look at the vibration, that is what is important in that case. The model predicts the vibration in the area, and it's very accurate because it's calibrated in real time with the real data. So you can see how the vibration progress. And you can also see it on a larger scale where you see all the area and how this vibration will affect the different structures. This you get the data everything quantified. Here you've got the predicted, the actual, and the graph that show you the pink one is the predicted and the blue one is the measure one. You see that the predicted is always safe versus the measure. This is the first example of how to use the digital twin for sustainability. It will give you the ability to have operation, the vibration of the operation under control and protect the environment. Received the feedback of the client, very happy with that. We could resume the blast in this area, and now we can blast protecting the blast. Another example is the overhead control, how to prevent the dilution. First thing, always the same. Run the model, calibrate the model. Here you've got the real blast, and you've got the simulation. When this is done, you get the simulation here with no calibration, about 14% of error, and it's calibrated 1.7% of error, very 2%. You're ready for optimization. First thing that you can do is compare, for example, 3 different scenarios and look at the movement of these 3 different scenarios, look at the fragmentation, look at the backbreak, and the carbon footprint. And then, because you get these 3 simulations that are very accurate with the digital twin, you can look at the result. And for example, look at the one that is giving the more, where they recover the more ore, according to the sequence and the pattern. And you can also look at the carbon footprint at the same time and see which one has the better carbon. On the production side, you can take a blast like this. You've got the block model that is added to the blast. You can see before the blast and after the blast with the movement. Here you get the simulation with the digital twin where you can see the movement and how the different grades they mix together in the final mud file. You're going to see the result. We're going to do cross sections to see how things move inside the mud file. It's not only the surface movement, it's how all the grades, the various grades, they mix together during the movement. And if you do various cross sections and you look at before and after the blast, you get the exact location where in the final mud file you've got the ore grade. If you do some financial on that, quick financial, if you do standard marking, we can consider that due to the dilution, you're going to lose this amount of ore. Here it's gold of ore value per blast. And if you do some selective marking, so even if you consider that you've got a bucket size efficiency of 50%, so you recover only 50% of the lost ore per blast with the selective marking, because you know exactly where are the different grades. On the year, you're going to save about $20 million. And then if you look at the carbon footprint, because you recover such amount of ore, so you don't need to blast more materials to get this ore. You're going to save some mine rock mass. That's given the equivalent of CO2 saving about 8,000. That is quite significant, either if you look at the dollars recover or the savings of carbon. So to conclude, you can say that the blast digital journey with the blast digital twins, we get lots of benefits for those dilutions, but also we can deal with fragmentation, damage, vibration, fly rocks, and finally, you've got nice benefits on carbon. Okay, thank you for your attention for this short presentation of the benefits of the blast digital twin and on sustainability. And I'm now ready for question if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues, for your attention, and it was our last presentation for this session. It's a pity that the quality of sound was really poor, and the solution that Thierry was talking about is very interesting, and it deserves your attention. We are a little bit behind the schedule, but I believe we still have a couple of minutes for questions and from the audience, distinguished colleagues. Do you have any questions to the speakers? If otherwise, I think that everybody is so much waiting for the break. And I would like to tell you, and I would like to request you to support me in my gratitude to all the speakers. And now they will be present at the exhibition, and you'll have more detailed discussions with them at their booths. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good continuation of the day.